Newsmax studio in New York City, here is Steve Malzberg.
I deal with a lot of tough issues. I am not going to decide who makes the best barbecue in Kansas City. Brian's barbecue was tasty, and Victor's right, I did plow through it pretty good. But I have not had enough samples to make a definitive judgment. So I'm going to have to try some other barbecue next time I come in.
Yeah, by the way, that's very healthy. I want you all to know. It's insane. It's incredible. It's so beneath the presidency. Joining us now is Matt Lewis, senior contributor for the Daily Caller and contributing editor for the Week magazine. Hey, Matt.
Hey.
You know, I don't know. I'm getting hungry now. At least that's one thing he's motivated me to do, is to probably go eat when I finish this show today. All right, you wrote a great piece. Barack Obama has already checked out of his job, and that's for I guess for some time now he's checked out of this job. No?
Well, it does seem like it. I mean, look, I'm not one of those conservatives who just reflexively attacked Obama, but you know, you have to say, especially about a week ago, it seemed like the world was collapsing. You had, you know, the situation in Gaza. You had Russian separatists shooting down a plane in Ukraine, a passenger plane. You had, you know, Christians in Mosul being relocated. You had this border crisis down in Texas. And President Obama really going out of his way to not address any of it, to go to fundraisers, and in fact, he was in Texas and refused to go to the border and went to fundraisers in Texas, went out to get barbecue, had cheeseburgers in Delaware. So there was a real sharp dichotomy, I think, between the crises in the world and President Obama's behavior. At best, it was bad optics, but at worst, it was really bad leadership.
Yeah, and of course, right, I think a very telling, in-your-face, on-purpose photo op that he did take right after his people announced he doesn't like photo ops. That's why he won't go to Texas to the border, was the photo op playing pool and drinking beer with the governor of Colorado. That could not have been an accident. Yeah,
it's interesting. You know, I've been saying, I think there's like 3 levels of leadership. So there's level 1 would be when you're engaged and you look like you're engaged. That's the best. Then there's level 2 where you're not engaged, but you at least fake it. You care enough to look like you're engaged. Barack Obama seems to be in level 3. He's not engaged with what's going on in the world, and he doesn't care that he doesn't even look like he's engaged. So it's really unbelievable. And I mean, this is a guy who clearly, when he wants to, knows how to use propaganda, knows how to use public relations, did a great job running those campaigns, and now managing the world situation falling apart in many ways because of his policies. Can't blame him for everything. Doesn't seem all that interested at this point.
No, and his recent remarks, "Stop the hate," talking to about the Republicans, harkened me back to addressing a Hispanic audience and saying, you know, I know something that they're your enemy. I think I'm drawing a blank now on what I was going to say, but I remember he called Republicans the enemy of Hispanics when he was addressing them several years ago. It's so much of what he does and the way he acts, to me, is beneath the office of the presidency.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've not been one of those conservatives who reflexively attacked, you know, Barack Obama from day one. In fact, I spend a lot of my time criticizing the right, mainly because I'm more interested in conservatism as a philosophy and, frankly, more concerned about its survival and adaptation in the 21st century. But I really haven't been able to avoid being very critical of Obama lately, especially since his reelection, where he seems to not just be, you know, sort of checking out, but almost flaunting it. It's really very difficult to defend the president, never mind his policies, but just the lack of leadership, of moral leadership. There's no moral clarity. There's really a false equivalence as well. And, you know, I think that you know, President Bush, there's been this huge backlash. Now, maybe President Bush was a little too Manichean, a little too, you're with us or you're against us. But Barack Obama has gone the exact opposite direction. And look at what's happened in the world. Things have clearly not gotten better as a result of this.
All right, let's move on to the border battle in the House, and tell me what this means that yesterday Boehner, had to pull the bill for a vote, couldn't get a vote on it because he couldn't get Republican votes. The Tea Party influence, the Conservative Caucus influence. What does all that mean? Because we were talking about a $600 million bill, and no matter what happens, of course. It wasn't going to see the light of day in the Senate anyway. So did it really make that much of a difference?
I think that it was a real embarrassment what happened yesterday in the House. And let's go back to, I was writing, my column last week in the Telegraph was about Barack Obama and his failings. If I were writing a column this weekend, it would have to be about the impotence of John Boehner and the Republicans in the House. And so it's almost quite telling. It's when the focus is on Obama, Republicans win. Whenever they try to do something and almost inevitably fail at it, then the focus goes on them. And really, this is the larger story is about a lack of leadership in America. The president doesn't have leadership. Speaker Boehner is not able to corral his forces to even support something that I think is a pretty modest, moderate idea. And so I think Republicans yesterday came out looking really, really weak and really impotent. And, it's quite sad. This is a really important situation. And, again, President Obama has failed to rise to the occasion. Republicans have not been able to do it, though. And so, it's hard to point at them and cheer at this point.
Right. I hear you. All right, Matt, thank you for your time, sir. Have a great weekend. Great talking to you.
Thank you.
All right, Matt Lewis, ladies and gentlemen. Very interesting. Of course, what I'd like to see. To me, and they've been doing more and more of it. Certain congressmen, the members of the House have. They need to keep pointing out that Harry Reid has over 300 bills passed by the House, sitting in the Senate, that he will not bring up. So every time the president says, do something, get to work, let's go. The Republicans have to fire back and say, here are the 300 bills. They need to pile the 300 bills. They need a press conference. They need to go to the White House. They need to see the president. Or they need to stand on the steps of the White House and say, here are the 300 bills that Harry Reid won't bring up for a vote. We have worked. Now let Harry Reid start working. That's what really needs to happen. We'll be back. Don't go away. First, your Newsmax Now update.